What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Van of ShowMeFootball.com, and guess what? You know what? Luther Burden is a Missouri Tiger. The wait is finally over. After months of speculation and rumors that he would decommit from Oklahoma and potentially come to Missouri, it finally happened. Luther Burden, the top wide receiver in the class of 2022, is now a Tiger. A monumental win for Eli Drinkwitz and his staff. When I made my prediction video on where Luther Burden would decide to go, I did pick Missouri and felt pretty confident in my pick. I felt like Mizzou fans had all the reason in the world to be optimistic, but I'll admit my heart was pumping all the way up until he finally put on the Missouri hat. But I gotta say, it feels good now that I've really soaked in the fact that Mizzou just landed a 5-star recruit. The first 5-star recruit that they've had since Terry Beckner Jr. in 2015. And Luther Burden is their highest rated commit since Dorial Green Beckham, who was the #1 player in the nation. Luther Burden is the #6 player in the nation, according to Rivals.com. And, of course, the consensus #1 wide receiver in America. Luther Burden is one of the most explosive wide receivers in the country. You know, it kind of goes without being said that he's a great player. Obviously, he's about 6'2", 195 or so. He's very explosive. He's got the speed to take the top off of a defense, absolutely. And he can make you miss in the open field. He breaks tackles. He's one of East St. Louis's main punt and kick return guys. I believe he has several return touchdowns this year for the East St. Louis Flyers in his senior season. But yeah, I mean, he's a great player. There's no doubt about that. Mizzou will greatly benefit from having him on roster, not just because he himself is a good player, but because since he's going to be drawing a lot of attention, guys that we thought could have an impact in the future that are already on this current Missouri team, like Mookie Cooper and Dominic Lovett and J.J. Hester, guys like that, they'll be able to thrive with Burden getting a lot of the attention. They'll be able to take advantage of underneath routes and take advantage of space. That's, you know, those guys, they're all big beneficiaries of Luther Burden coming to Mizzou. Also, the other wide receiver commits in this class, too, who we should recognize, Mekhi Miller from the KC area, and then Jamarion Wayne, also from St. Louis. A lot of people think he could be just as good, if not better, than Burden. Very underrated prospect. But yeah, I mean, this is huge. This wide receiver recruiting class, it contains, like I said, Miller, Wayne, and now Burden. That's a hell of a wide receiver class. Also, when you look at the Missouri's class overall, they rank number 14 in the nation now, according to 24/7 Sports. Burden really solidifies their ranking there, and it means Missouri is on track to finish with a top 15 class, and for the second year in a row, finish with the highest rated class in school history. A couple other notable players already committed in Missouri's class are, of course, 4-star Georgia quarterback Sam Horn, 4-star Texas running back Tavares Jones, 4-star offensive tackle from Nebraska Deshaun Woods, and now you're adding Luther Burden. So if those guys can become the building blocks for this offense and this program that their ranking indicates, you know, this is going to be a heck of a class. I mean, to have your player of the future at all those positions in one class, I mean, that's huge. Missouri has top 10 players at quarterback, running back, and wide receiver in this class alone. That's amazing. I know a lot of you guys are going, where's the defense, though? This team needs defense. Well, they've got some defensive guys committed, too. You know, Marquise Gracial, 4-star defensive tackle from Lutheran St. Charles. And then you got Isaac Thompson, who's one of the top safeties in the country out of St. Louis High School. And now that you have Burden committed, it could start this domino effect where other elite recruits really do start to follow him. We've said that a lot in the past. If Mizzou could just get a domino effect and convince a lot of these guys to stay home, it would be great. And we've gotten spurts of that before, but we've never really gotten a true domino effect where elite players, consistently either considered Missouri or stayed in Missouri by going to Mizzou. But Luther Burden even said when he committed, he's doing this because he wants to start a trend of elite talent going to Missouri. He wants to rebuild this thing, and I know fans love to hear that. And that's exactly what he said. He wants to rebuild this thing, and he said, it's cool to go to Georgia or to go to Alabama, but this is what he wants to do, and he hopes it starts changing things around here. And now, since he's committed to Missouri, and he's still got an official visit that he could take to Missouri if he wants to, if Mizzou could get a big weekend where they're hosting a lot more top uncommitted recruits, and they bring Luther Burden, a 5-star wide receiver recruit, to have in their ears during their visit, obviously that couldn't hurt. So Luther Burden's commitment has a big impact in that regard. People are going to be checking their social media feeds. I mean, they already have because I'm making this video the morning after the commitment. But, people are going, wow, Missouri just landed who? Luther Burden, a 5-star recruit? I mean, this is getting national attention, and that's the good kind of PR that you want. People are starting to take notice of Mizzou. And the Luther Burden commitment really couldn't have come at a better time because at this point in Mizzou's season, their record has fallen a bit below fan expectations. People are a little disappointed and down on Drinkwitz and the team right now, which is understandable. But if there's one thing Drinkwitz has to hang his hat on, it's his recruiting. And if Mizzou is ever going to be good and compete in the SEC East in the future with Drinkwitz, it's going to be because of his recruiting. And, I mean, if you're looking for somewhere to find hope, it's his recruiting, guys. His recruiting is off the charts. Drinkwitz has talked over and over again about closing the talent gap in the SEC, and you really can't do that more effectively than bringing in a 5-star high school recruit. And, I know there's a lot of Georgia fans probably watching this video right now. I've watched a couple other videos regarding Luther Burden's commitment, and Georgia fans are filtering in the comments saying, oh, why would he go there? And, I hope he enjoys losing. Here's the thing, and Georgia fans, you can dislike the video, but we got enough Missouri fans to outweigh that are going to like the video. But here's what I'll say. If you're so confused as to why Luther Burden would pick Missouri over your school, here are some of the biggest reasons. One, NIL opportunity. He's already got this huge hometown hero vibe going on over here, and he's a star around here, whereas at Georgia, let's be honest, he's going to be one of many faces there. They rake in highly rated guys all the time in their recruiting classes, and a lot of people would say, oh, he's never going to win at Missouri. Well, Missouri was consistently a top 25 program with Gary Pinkel, and he never really recruited the way Mizzou is recruiting now. So if Drinkwitz is half the coach Pinkel was, but 2 times as good as a recruiter, then Mizzou ought to be pretty good. So to say that he's never going to win, I would watch what you're saying. Do I think Missouri will ever catch up to Georgia and ever be a better recruiting program than Georgia? Probably not, but that doesn't mean they can't compete with them and get to the point where a couple things go their way in the game and it's just a good day for the Tigers. They could pull off an upset, or heck, they might even be the higher ranked team one day going into the game. I don't really think Georgia was ever a huge threat in his recruitment, to be completely honest, either. I think from the day he decommitted from Oklahoma, he was Mizzou's to lose. And even though he had that visit to Georgia and a lot of people over there felt confident, I think that was just because people were looking at this recruitment and going, you know what, it's Georgia versus Missouri. Why would someone go to Missouri over Georgia? We're the better program, so I'm going to pick Georgia because why wouldn't it be Georgia? But that's just not the case in this recruitment. Luther Burden said he really, truly made his decision after attending the North Texas game in Columbia on his visit. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually made the decision before that, but obviously a lot of times these guys will take one last visit to the other school they're considering and everything like that just to make sure they're making the right choice. But I think the relationships that him and his family have built with Missouri and their coaching staff have really went a long way, and it's one of the biggest reasons he decommitted from Oklahoma in the first place is because the staff was relentless and trying to get him over to Mizzou. And hopefully this is a turning point in St. Louis and local recruiting for Missouri, where now they can just get guys and don't have to worry about them going to Oklahoma and going to Alabama and stuff like that. Of course, you'll have guys every here and there that are always going to go to those schools because you can't get all of them, and there's sometimes guys that just want to get out of the state of Missouri, and you can't really blame them for that. But this definitely could be a turning point and locking down the borders truly and getting these elite level blue chip prospects from the state of Missouri to stay home. So, yeah. Party up, Mizzou fans. You just got a 5-star recruit and the best wide receiver in the nation, Luther Burden. Welcome to Mizzou. All that being said, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe so more Mizzou fans can find this. And make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com. And I'll see you in the next one.